But a Christian nurse, Shirley Chaplin, lost her case. Her employers said the cross she wore on the hospital ward was unhygienic. And Gary McFarlane, a Relate counsellor, also lost. He was sacked when he refused to counsel gay couples about their sexual relationships. And Lillian Liddell lost her case. She was a registrar who refused to register civil partnerships. Mr McFarlane is now trying to rebuild his career as an independent counsellor. Today's judgment gives considerable discretion to employers to override the religious concerns of staff.
The implications really, I think, is that a lot of Christians will remain hidden, will remain unable to exercise I would say, the minimum expressions of their faiths because of the intimidation effect.
Christian groups claim the court's judgment undermines freedom of conscience, but secularists say it was sensible.
We're delighted that they haven't resulted in the creation of a hierarchy of religious rights with religion at the top and gay people potentially very badly affected by that.
Today's judgment sets a legal seal on years in which traditionalist Christians have gone to British courts and tried unsuccessfully to defend their values against secular ones. It confirms that although people are fully entitled to hold religious beliefs, they won't be allowed to infringe the rights of other people in the workplace. Robert Piggott, BBC News.
Well, Shirley Chaplin, a former nurse, said she was disappointed that she had lost her case.
I feel that Christians are marginalised in the workplace. Other faiths are allowed to physically manifest their beliefs. I'm not allowed to manifest mine, and I think that still needs addressing.
Well, Gary McFarlane, the Relate counsellor, who said he would not advise gay couples about their sexual relationships, said his lawyers were considering further action.
It's a regrettable situation. I was not successful thus far. And so the law remains as it is, which I think is a regrettable position for those who hold a very conscientious view.
Gary McFarlane there. Let's look at some of the issues raised by these cases. Andrea Williams is a barrister, the Chief Executive of the Christian Legal Centre, and Andrew Copson is the Chief Executive of the British Humanist Association. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. It's good to see you. Andrew, if I can start with you, it's pretty clear now, isn't it, that people can legitimately express their beliefs at work through the wearing of crosses and so on, as long as it doesn't interfere with their work. Now, that seems pretty fair, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's what we've argued for ever since these cases started. As you say, that principle was applied by the European Court, and quite correctly. And it was also applied by most of the courts in most of the cases that have been resolved today in the European Court. The principle is clear. You can manifest your religious belief as long as it's not getting in the way of the rights and freedoms of others. And when it is, you can't manifest your religious belief. And 3 out of the 4 cases that were in front of the European Court have been lost on that basis, and quite rightly.
OK, Andrea Williams, would you agree with that it made sense, the court's rulings today?
No, and indeed, even the strap lines that are being put out across the broadcast here are inaccurate. Gary McFarlane never refused to give counselling to a gay couple. In fact, he did counsel some gay couples. He had a possible conscientious objection to giving sex therapy to a gay couple, and this possible conscientious objection arose on a training course. So there was never actually any couple, nor in the case of Lillian Liddell was there ever any refusal of a service to any homosexual couple. So I think here we have to really get a sense of perspective on what is happening. What have the English courts said? The English courts have said this, that your freedom to manifest your faith is your freedom to resign. Well, of course, that's no freedom at all. I take great heart indeed from the fact that the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg has recognised that Gary and Lillian's belief that marriage is between a man and woman and that sexual expression should be within that context flows from a Christian belief and is worthy of protection.
Andrea Williams, the point that the court was making was that you're free to express your religious beliefs as long as they do not interfere with the discharge of your job. And surely that was the possibility with the cases that were rejected.
Well, actually here, the most extraordinary thing is that it wasn't. Because in the case of Islington, there were 15 or more registrars that were perfectly happy to do civil partnerships.
But the point wasn't about the other 15 registrars, it's about the one in question. That person is employed to do a job. That person's saying, I can't do that job because of my religion. That is not fair, surely.
No, it's not fair on her, is it? There are many people that believe exactly what Lillian Nadelli believed, exactly, of course, and in a truly free, in a truly tolerant society, in a society where freedom of religion, freedom of thought, freedom of conscience is truly respected, then what we do is we learn to live alongside one another. Okay, that's what true freedom is.
Okay, Andrew, how do you respond to that in fact the discrimination is on the other foot?
Well, I think most reasonable people will accept that you can't have untrammelled freedom of religious practice or even non-religious practice in employment terms. I mean, there are some things when you accept a certain job that you have to do and certain things that you have to not do. If you're a nurse, you can wear a cross pinned to your uniform, as the nurse in this case was offered to do. You can't have it on a chain because that's dangerous. If, you know, in the same way that I can't go and teach Catholic instruction in a Catholic school because I'm not a Catholic, so can someone who's not willing to conduct a civil partnership be a registrar. It doesn't matter whether they're only theoretically not willing to discharge the duties in their job. It matters if they are or not willing to do them, full stop. And so Andrea, I think, can't say, oh, no one was really harmed because some gay couple could always go elsewhere. The fact is that the job of registrar now is to perform a civil partnership. The job of a counsellor with Relate is to give counselling to couples. And, you know, a nurse cannot wear, you know, jewellery hanging down in the course of her duties, but can wear it pinned to the uniform, which apparently wasn't enough. And I think that the...
OK, I'm going to have to come in there, Andrew. I mean, Andrea Williams, are you saying that religious tolerance trumps everything else?
Well, no, what we're finding here in terms of the equalities legislation, where two rights conflict, where homosexual rights conflict with Christians' rights, we're finding that the homosexual rights trump the Christians' rights. That's what we find time and time again, when actually reasonable accommodation could have won through and everyone could have lived peacefully and well alongside one another. I just need to also correct something. Shirley Chaplin was prepared to have her cross pinned to the uniform, and in fact the hospital did not accept that. She bent over backwards to try and accommodate them when they began to say that the issue was health and safety.
Andrew Williams, I'm going to have to come in there. Andrew Copson, you were shaking your head furiously to what a lot of Andrea was saying, but thanks to you both. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.